Hey there fellow adult collectors, welcome back. David Eon here with another unboxing. A little late to the party on these, I think, but it's been a very busy week for us here. We've had our vacation time and I've spent that vacation time renovating the house. So getting around to stuff like this, it hasn't been easy. But here we have the Mondo Creature from the Black Lagoon 1/6 scale figure, both versions. This is the regular version and the silver screen edition. Regular version limited to 2,400 pieces and the silver screen edition limited to 8,000 pieces. And you got a bundle deal if you bought both, and that's what I did. And yeah, you can see these boxes took some hits. I'm always concerned about these boxes because the outer shell boxes are pretty flimsy. And we'll go ahead and get started breaking into these right away. As you can see, they are still completely sealed, so I'm seeing them as you are. And what I'm expecting is some decent artwork. Mondo, of course, is best known for what? T-shirts and posters. Action figures is something that they just kind of dabble in, although I really kind of like the Mondo action figures. I have several. I don't have any of the... Oh, and it's reinforced. They've changed the box style. There's some reinforcement here, including corner tabs. Plastic corner tabs. Excellent. That's a nice change of pace for Mondo. They must have gotten some complaints. That's a sign of a company actually listening to customers. People were complaining about the boxes arriving damaged, and now suddenly they all have corner protectors. So I appreciate that when a company actually listens to its customers. But of course, Mondo, I do not have any of the Batman animated figures that they have done. And take a look at that artwork. And that's very classic looking. And I'll open up the other one as well. That's very classic. But we'll go ahead and get into this one. But I do have several of the Masters of the Universe. In here you see the same thing, reinforced corners. And it's probably going to be the same artwork, just in black and white. There you go. And everything falls. That's okay. And the corners appear to have worked because I don't see any crushed corners, and I have gotten a couple of my Masters 6 scale figures with damaged corners. So there's the silver screen box. And of course, on the back of this, there's the side. The back of it shows you what should be in there. 3 heads, the main body, 6 hands, the artifact, including what looks like a pair of swimming feet, swimming hands and swimming feet. Okay, so you can swap out his regular hands and feet for swimming versions for posing, I suppose. So let's go ahead and get into this. But yeah, I like what they've done with these figures so far. With their action figures, they're sturdy, they don't feel cheap, the price point's not too bad. 6th scale action figure prices have gotten really stupid in the last decade. It just keeps going up and keeps going up, and so their price point isn't too bad. And there's no sleeve on this one. Now on my Masters of the Universe, there's a sleeve, and this does not appear to have a sleeve. You just open it right up, and you've got like this swamp backdrop, and then here's your figure. Interesting color. we're going to open up the other one, and I'm going to be looking at these side by side on the stand. So in a moment, we'll cut away and then take a look at the figures standing side by side, look at all the accessories, and that's held on with a magnet. Same exact thing. There's your swamp background, and I suppose you could use this as a backdrop if you wanted to. And then your silver screen grayscale version. So let's go ahead and get these out of the boxes and take a good look at them and then test their articulation. Very quickly here, having removed them from the box, I just wanted to give you a shot of what they look like in their trays, and you can see they have a backdrop inside the box as well that's identical to the inside flap of the exterior box. But just to give you an idea of what they look like here, out of the box and side by side, before I go ahead and pull them out and stand them up. And here we are back with our Mondo 1/6 scale Creature from the Black Lagoon, regular and silver screen edition, out of the packaging. And getting them out wasn't easy. I've actually spent about the last 10 minutes removing them from the package because of how they changed the way that they package these figures. First of all, this cable. This is like plastic thread. It is not a wire. Usually in 6 scale packaging with figures, and in toy manufacturing in general for a long time, you get wires and you can untie them and tie them back. This is like a plastic threading, and I didn't want to cut it because I would like to have the option of repackaging them if I choose to. This stuff was very difficult to remove. I imagine it's a cheaper alternative, but I'm not too happy with it. Secondly, you notice that the stands are still attached. They taped the stands to the back of the packaging rather than making a second clamshell, because usually there's like another tray underneath here in 6th scale figures, and even 12th scale figures have a second tray and the accessories and extra bits go underneath. They eliminated that completely. There's only the single tray, and that is taped to the bottom of the package like it's inside of a plastic piece and taped around the edges. And I chose not to remove it because I'm probably not going to use those stands anyways, because I really hate these stands. I am not a fan of ball hugger stands, the ones that go up between the figure's legs. They don't work well. Mondos are notorious for not working well. I've complained about them with the Masters of the Universe figures that I've done reviews on. The figures just can't stand up on them. They're too top heavy. The bottom comes out of the platform and they fall over. Not something you want happening over and over again. So I'm not a fan of the stands at all, and I'm probably not even going to remove them. But back to the figures. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the action figures in detail and take a look at their accessories. Obviously this is the regular Creature from the Black Lagoon. A lot of nicely detailed sculpting here. All the way down, and he does stand very well on his own. As you saw, I've been spinning this around and have not really had any issues with them teetering or looking like they're going to fall. So they stand up pretty solid so far. And then I'll take a look at this one's profile, and then I'll turn them both so that you can see their backs. But a lot of good sculpting detail, which is something that I've observed with the Mondo Masters of the Universe figures as well. they've done such a great job with the sculpting on the Masters of the Universe that it almost seems like with every new figure it just looks better. Especially Merman. Merman and Man-at-Arms. The very last one they put out was Man-at-Arms. The sculpts are fantastic. Although Man-at-Arms is a bit top heavy. He has all that extra armor and accessories. Who are you liking better so far? Silver screen or the traditional green one? I kind of like them both. Although I like how the grayscale brings out the details. And of course we'll test the articulation on these in a few moments after we look at the accessories. Good work on the painting on this one too. Every scale seems to jump out. And people have been hoping that Mondo's going to continue with this. We turn these back to facing out so that you can see that. And we'll take a look at the accessories and we'll test the articulation in a moment here. He's got kind of a wide stance with his arms kind of hanging out. You know, another disadvantage with those stands, and it kind of doesn't make very much sense to me. You provided swimming hands and feet, and you have a stand that cannot accommodate the figure in that type of a pose. Because if you were going to have them swimming, you know, you'd have them like this. There's no way that you could put them on the stand that you provided. It doesn't make any sense. Take a look at the accessories. There's the artifact, the severed bony hand as an accessory. The two swimming hands, which I want to compare these to the other ones. They don't look that different from the hands that are on the figure now, to me, not to the naked eye. So I'm going to put them side by side when I get a chance and just see how different that is. Angled swimming feet. And then two additional heads. Mouth open. And then, I guess, is that a different expression? Because that kind of resembles to me. Oh, the eyes are different. I was going to say, what is the difference? The eyes are different. This looks like the head that's on him already. But yeah, you can't see his pupils here. And I don't know why they couldn't have given him a moving jaw, a working jaw, like they did with the merman figures. Merman's mouth opens and closes. And I think that was a really cool feature. They didn't do that with this. And really quickly, and those heads will not stand like this because of the way the bottom is shaped. It just rolls and falls over. Take a look at the Silver Screen Edition ones really quickly. Accessories. Same exact things, obviously. Just recast in different colors. Swimming hands. The swimming feet. Some of the paint is coming off. Look at that. Came off of the joint there. See? But there's your swimming feet. I do not want paint peeling on these figures. Please. And then the heads. There's that blank expression head with the pupils not visible. And there is some depth to the mouth. I don't know how well you can see that, but there is some depth to the mouth. And then the other head with the mouth wide open. Or as wide as it can get. And then there's the visible pupils. But let's go ahead and start looking at articulation here. Here's our standard one. Side to side tilt, very limited, and that's probably because of these gills, if you will. Up and down is kind of limited too, probably because of the fins on the back of the neck. Try a head change. Whoa, okay, you don't want to come off that easy, do you? And so we'll put this on. And it's a double jointed neck, because look at this. This is a whole separate section. And despite that, it still did not want to move very well. This looks really awkward. Alright, I got it. I got it on there. That one seems to work better, actually. The rotation is working a lot better on this one. Up and down is still limited, but side to side and the twisting works better with that head. Arms up to about a T. Forward. There's a rotating plate in there. See that? I guess that's to cover the joint up. Both sides. But since that is just like a rubber piece, I bet it can be damaged pretty easily. Elbows to about an L. They don't appear to be double jointed. Twists. No forearm rotation except at the elbow. Full wrist articulation and rotation. Let's see if I get that into a position of tilt. It will not. Usually these you can get a double turn out of that. I can't get that to turn again so that the hand can go side to side instead of just up and down. If that piece can rotate, I can't get it to do it. No, it won't turn inside the ball joint. Now let me see what's the difference here. Basically the fingers are just wider. There's really not that much of a difference. Just wider fingers. Side to side. Limited movement. I mean, he's got 1, 2, 3 breaks here. Ab crunch. He won't go back. He stays straight. Ab crunch doesn't really do anything. He's got all that spacing, but then he won't move. He can twist up there. He won't really move at the waist, barely. Most of the rotation is up top here. Hips. You can get a decent split out of him. Backward movement completely restricted by the fins. His legs will not go back. Forward to about there. So you can't even get a seated position out of him. That's as far as it'll turn. Knees, single jointed knees, and they stop right there. Good tilt on the ankles. Forward and back's not bad either. Rotation is at the ankle, no calf rotation. And we'll compare the feet here. And you can see that there's a much deeper arch in the swimming foot. Otherwise, they're pretty similar. Wider toes. And I'm guessing that we're going to see pretty much the same level of articulation with the silver screen edition here. Just find that other head that's similar. Yeah, no pupils, and the fins are straight down instead of being flushed. So it's just very slight variation. I did not test switching on a hand. Let me try that here. Wow. Okay. Let's try the other side. Alright, that one came out, and a lot of paint came off with it. Look at that. Okay. That wasn't easy. This one's clicking. The other ones didn't. That one's making a clicking sound as well. But yeah, same level of articulation with this one. Obviously, I mean, it's the exact same mold. Hands were very difficult to pull out, and it could be because of the paint. I can try a foot here. Wow. It's just stretching, but it's not coming out. It won't come off. And I don't want to break it, you know. So very interesting first impressions here. Okay, so I guess I will bring them down to the museum and stand them up, and then we'll just talk about the figures and what I think and get your opinions. And here we are in the Open by Chance Museum, over to where we have just put our Mondo 1/6 scale creature from the Black Lagoon regular and silver screen edition pair. and they're actually next to and taller than a little bit the Masters of the Universe. And there is the merman, and as I was pointing out, he's got articulated jaws, so you can open and close his mouth, which I thought was a really interesting feature, and they could have done that and they chose not to. And I do have a handful of gripes, aside from the packaging, which I already talked about the issues with the packaging. These figures are very difficult to work with. They look good, the sculpts are really nice, but the articulation is extremely limited. There's very little you can do with them as far as posing. Also, change-outs. I was able to change out the heads. The heads come off easily enough. Putting the heads back on is a little difficult. But this green one, I could not get either of his hands or feet off. They felt like they were stretching. I felt like I was going to break one if I wasn't careful. And the studs aren't nearly as big as the ones in the Masters. The Masters of the Universe hands and feet, the wrist and ankle sockets are really thick. They're not going to break. These are a lot thinner and they're wedged in there tight, and they didn't feel right trying to get them off. I was not able to change hands or feet on the green one at all. On the gray one, I couldn't get the feet off in only one hand, as you saw, and I'm not confident in switching them back and forth. It makes me nervous. So yeah, Mondo, they lose points on poor articulation, lack of posability, and lack of ability to change out the extra accessories, as well as packaging issues. I'm really kind of surprised because, as I pointed out, they look great, but for me, the way it looks isn't the only thing that matters. These are easier to pose, they get better flexibility, and again, these are Mondo. They're nice and thick and durable feeling figures, a lot of great accessories, as well as good sculpting. I'm kind of a fan of these, especially the Masters of the Universe. I have not worked with any of the Batman animated, but these, in comparison to what they've been doing, kind of fall short. Again, if just the way they look is enough for you, that's fine. Some people, especially like Hot Toys collectors and other 6th scale collectors, are willing to overlook a lot for a good sculpt, and I don't agree with that. I think that there's a lot more involved than just the aesthetics of it, just the overall appearance. I like to look at the whole picture. And you know, you might get upset at me, and that's fine. I'm just giving an honest opinion. I'm not getting paid to talk here. That's the difference between this channel and a lot of the big ones. Some of them are being paid to talk. I've talked about that before. And again, like I said, they look good and people were excited about it. They're hoping that Mondo's going to continue with the line. And maybe if they do continue with the line and they make figures that are mixed media, that have clothing like if they did Frankenstein and he was dressed, they could do a lot better with the articulation. But sometimes figure lines like this get started and they just kind of get forgotten about. Like Mezco's Universal Monsters, where they did a regular and a grayscale Frankenstein and nothing else. They just kind of dropped it, never got back to it again. Universal Monsters is a staple. A lot of people make Universal Monsters. Probably too many companies make Universal Monsters, and maybe that's part of the problem. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I'm being too harsh? Do you think I'm being too critical of these figures? Do you have them in your collection? Did you order these? What do you think of them? Were you impressed, or did you run into some of the same problems that I did? Because maybe it's mine. Maybe there's something wrong with the paint application on my particular figures that is making it difficult to get the hands and feet out. But then again, I've got two of them and they're both having the same problem. It's something to think about. Do you have these? Do you like them? Is this something you're thinking about getting? Have I helped you to make a decision one way or the other? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. I hope that you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. Check out some of our other videos if you have not. We do not just unboxings, but showcases of vintage toys, toy collector and industry discussions, virtual tours of catalogs, showcases of classic commercials, all sorts of things on this channel for nostalgia purposes. So what more can I say? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.